Welcome to Worth It or Worthless, a show where every couple weeks we pull a game from my own personal collection of retro games, take off our nostalgia tinted glasses, and decide, is the game good by today's standards and is it worth the price of admission? We talk about what the game does well, what the game doesn't do so well, and things that are just plain weird. I'm your host Dan, joined as always by my friend Jordan. Jordan, what did we get into today?
Today we played 1943, the Battle of Midway for the Nintendo Entertainment System. 1943 is the story of Zeus, the Greek god of storms, and his slightly off-brand decision to become a World War II fighter pilot.
What? Why?
I mean, it's not.
Why?
That's just a synopsis. It's just a short little synopsis of the game. Zeus, he likes to fly planes. He throws lightning bolts. Sometimes he calls in tidal waves from his brother Poseidon, you know.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what? I haven't really been out in the public recently. I think I'm going to get into this whole World War II business and fly a fighter plane.
Okay. It's interesting that you bring up Zeus because I started playing Hades recently. So that's where my brain went.
Hades.
Yes, Hades
Okay, Hades is like a roguelike.
Yes, by Supergiant Games. It's really good.
Crawler.
Yeah. Highly recommend it.
It won like a bunch of Game of the Year awards a couple years ago,
That
right?
doesn't surprise me. I don't know, but I feel like it took too long for me to get into it, and now I've gotten away from it for like a week and a half, and I'm like, oh man, when am I going to get back to Hades? I probably should finish that game. It's really good. Anyways, 1943. We are in the throes of January. We put it to a poll for the second game that we should cover. We put it to a poll on Patreon. Much to my what's the word I'm looking for?
Surprise?
Not surprise.
Disdain?
Chagrin. Sadness. Disappointment. Snow Brothers 2 with New Elves did not win that poll.
Yeah. In our last episode, we talked about our Desert Island arcade ports, and Snow Brothers 2 did not make that list, but Dan, for some reason, kept talking about it, and here he is bringing it up again.
Jordan,
but we did put a poll out there.
Okay, so the problem is Snow Brothers 2 doesn't have an arcade port. So the reason it was...
And nobody cares. Truly,
Listen.
Nobody in the world cares about Snow Brothers or Snow Brothers 2. I don't understand why you keep talking about them. But here we are.
Yeah, okay, so just real quick.
No, stop. We're not talking about it. 1943
Jordan,
is a classic vertical shoot-'em-up game. Has nothing to do with roguelike Hades or whatever the heck Snow Brothers is 2. No one even knows what Snow Brothers 2 is or what genre it falls into because it's a game that no one cares about.
Okay, so just real quick, Jordan. People will know about Snow Brothers 2 here shortly. I think I'm going to do a review of it for our website.
Sure. Get it out of your system. That's all I can say.
I'm going to die on this hill. Snow Brothers 2 is good.
It was one of the options. Literally, no one voted for it. We had a lot of votes for 1943.
A lot.
One of the perks of Patreon is you get to vote on our episodes, and 1943 is picked. It's a vertical shoot-'em-up game, and the reason that I made the joke about Zeus is because for some reason the game is pretty straightforward. World War II, you're in the Pacific Theater and you're flying planes, but for some reason you also have magical powers that let you unleash the forces of nature upon your enemies, and the one that is most commonly used is the lightning bolt. So that's why I like to think of Zeus as the pilot, and he's dating Nancy, who you meet in the final cutscene. In the end of the game, you see the pilot make a very touching phone call to his wife Nancy to let her know that the war is over and he's coming home.
Oh man. So I didn't play a ton of the arcade version, which was sad because I wanted to play more. I just kind of ran out of time. But you kept harping on the fact that you can call in a tidal wave on the arcade version, and the NES version, although the manual alludes to multiple elements, all you can seem to do is shoot lightning. At least that's all we could figure out how to do.
Yeah, that's all we could figure out. I tried Googling a million different ways, couldn't figure it out. But yeah, that's why I was a little bit bummed out. In the NES version, we couldn't figure out how to use the tidal waves. But in the arcade version, you can use tidal waves. In the NES manual, it says you can use cyclones, lightning, and tidal waves. But if you can, it was beyond us to figure out.
Yeah, I don't know. We kept discovering new things as we continued our way. The Pacific Ocean is big, right? I don't know how big the Pacific Theater is, but this seems like a huge.
Well, specifically, this is specifically supposed to be the Battle of Midway, which is taking place like over an island.
Okay.
Do you know why they call it Midway, Dan?
Is this a reference to the publisher, or is this a reference to the location?
No, the World War II location of Midway. It's an island that's either halfway between Hawaii and Japan or halfway between the U.S. mainland and Japan. So it was an important strategic location because we wanted to get Midway. If we could get Midway, we could get our planes within striking distance of mainland Japan. So that's why this was a pretty big battle.
I wonder then, of course, if Midway, one of the finest publishers of arcade wares of all time, somehow named after
they're not.
Midway Island, since it was midway between the U.S. and Japan. So allegedly,
they're
according
named after the midway of like an amusement park is the part where all of the like arcades and food and stuff are. So I'm guessing they're going to be named after that and not after a Japanese island.
Agree to disagree.
That's fine. Anyway, before we get into talking about what this game does well and doesn't do so well, I think, Dan, for us, you guys may not have realized this, but we're serious journalists. And
Speak for yourself,
we had something come to our attention. Our good friend Mateus pointed out that we had a mistake in our previous episode. And before we move on, I just think we need to offer an official retraction. Mateus pointed out that Eddie from Tekken is not a breakdancer. He is actually a capybara or a tapioca fighter. Something like that. Capybara, tapioca, some sort of Brazilian fighter, not a breakdancer. So get it right, people. We're sorry we messed it up. With that out of the way, I think we can move on to this next game. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow. I don't even know how to like pick up the pieces now. We got some fun.
Let's move on to what
we got some fun facts. We got some fun facts. Don't skip the fun facts.
I was trying to skip the fun facts.
Don't skip the fun facts.
Sorry. Okay, let's
Jordan, this game is one of those. It has pages and pages and pages written about it. The development of this one is utterly riveting. No.
Capcom made a game.
That's true. That's literally the first thing developed and published by Capcom. The second thing, released in 1987 in the arcade, 1988 on the NES.
That's a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah. Apparently, another thing was that the arcade was actually Japanese exclusive.
Really? I feel like I've seen 1943 cabinets, but maybe they're those like later editions.
Yeah, I don't know, because there's a second edition called 1943 Kai, which is short for something else.
Dragon Ball Z Kai. It's like a mixture.
Yeah, kind of. But the Wikipedia basically said that the arcade was exclusive in Japan. So I don't know if that's specifically the Kai. Now that you're saying that, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, what did I read? Like having second thoughts.
We're going to be offering another retraction in the next episode.
Sorry, Worth It or Worthless was wrong again. You should get used to this.
1943 is actually a capybara.
Well, 1943 is wrong to begin with, since it's based on an event from 1942. So let's all just agree that.
Yeah, that's a good point. The Battle of Midway took place in the summer of 1942. So
1943 is the sequel to 1942, the game. However...
they just decided to go up one.
Yes, up one, which is interesting because as I was like looking at the Wikipedia page, there's not a lot there. Then I was like, let me check out 1942. Let me see like what's here. I think 1942 might have been a very popular game. I'm trying to remember what I read now. I don't know what the deal is, but this game, because Capcom is a Japanese company. In this game, you're playing as like an American fighter, Zeus, who's trying to overcome.
That's my headcanon. That's not official.
It's actually so it's 1942. You're an American fighter. The enemies are Japanese, and I was like, that's really weird.
Yeah, it is weird. I thought the same thing. It's like, how is this such a popular game in Japan when you're defeating your own people? And it keeps like celebrating at the end of each letter. You defeated this guy.
But apparently the game was designed with a Western audience in mind. For that specific reason, which I found interesting.
They're like, what do Americans like? Beating us, I guess. Let's just make that. It's weird. It's very weird.
Dude, I don't know. I found it bizarre, to say the least. Now I'm like curious about this. I'm going back to the Wikipedia page currently to fact check myself because we
got a live fact check, people. We're doing it live.
Why can't I find? Capcom released their own ports, which is another thing that I wanted to touch on. Is there's a bunch of ports of this game. Not only was there an NES version and a bunch of like PC versions, like I think Amiga,
PC Engine,
ZX, Spectrum, and all that stuff, but you can also play this one on Saturn and PS1 and PS2 and Xbox and PSP and Xbox 360 and PS3 and Switch and Xbox One and PS4. Like,
it's everywhere. If you want to play this game, you probably have something that can play it. It might play on your TI-83 calculator. It probably plays on a pregnancy test. It probably plays on a tweet. It's the doom of vertical shoot 'em ups, if you will.
Okay, so all right. Here, the Kai version was exclusive to Japan. That's what I should say. I was not crazy. I just got confused as to where I was.
Okay, so you could play 1943 in the States, just not the re-released Kai version.
Which has like I think extra levels and a bunch of other stuff. I don't recall all the version differences right this second, but it's a big expanded version of 1943 because I guess 1943 was like super popular. So they thought,
who says that old games didn't have DLC?
Right, they just release entire new versions of them. What would it cost to convert a cabinet? Like, how much did arcade owners like have to pay for those kits?
I've seen flyers.
Yeah. So where do you put flyers for that? Like, you're just walking into the local Pizza Hut and being like, if you want.
There's like, I don't know, man. I'm just saying, I've seen like flyers.
I know that they exist
for arcade operators that you could buy these like convert-a-cab things or these like new PCB, which is what the game runs off of, and then they would give you a new marquee and new artwork to slap on there, and boom, now your Donkey Kong is a Donkey Kong Jr. or something.
Is a stereoscope, whatever. What was the name of the Nintendo game that they converted into Donkey Kong? What's the name of it? Why can't I think of it?
Satella? What are you?
Scope. Something about? Scope. Why is it
stereoscope?
No, maybe. What? My brain has not been working the last month and a half for some reason. Anyways, I'm gonna get into what the game does well.
That's enough fun facts. Let's do it.
All right. Jordan, the first thing on my list of what the game does well, I'm already like doubting myself. My brain is like, fun arcade gameplay. But I want to add,
you were like really worried about saying the game is fun.
No.
No. Is it? Is this fun?
I want to say in short bursts, fun arcade gameplay. You know, I think the how long to beat time on the arcade is about like 45 minutes, but the NES version is like 2 hours. Yeah. If you're playing this for short bursts at a time, this game is a lot of fun, I would say.
I totally agree. I think if you want to like take on a level or two at a time and like do everything you need to do to memorize the patterns and get down the strategy and beat a couple of levels at a time, that's fun. Nobody in their right mind should sit down and try to beat all 24 levels at once. Yeah. You will have a bad time.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm saying is like we sat down with this game today and we failed. I failed the first level and then you beat it and then I failed the second level, I think. and then I think you beat it, and then we failed a bunch of times in a row, and it's like, I mean, failure is fine because it's not like punishing. You just have to start the level over, but it's like, all right. After a long time of this, I'm tired of the same thing over and over again. But initially, when we put it in, and I can imagine like going back to it, I still like, I'm like, this game is fun. Like, there's something fun here that makes me want to play it more.
Yeah. So, like Dan mentioned, I have this game on my Switch because it is one of 2 free games that you get when you download the Capcom Arcade
Whatever.
bundle. I don't know. There's some
latest,
Capcom Arcade app. Yeah. And you can buy a whole bunch of games in there, but they give you Ghosts and Goblins and 1943 for free. So I picked it up, and one of the interesting things, and I think this is probably why the arcade version is so much shorter than the NES version is, when you die in the arcade version, you just put in another quarter and start right where you died. Yeah. Whereas in the NES version, when you die, you go all the way back and have to start the level over. So there you go. There's your extra hour and 15 minutes or whatever. But in the NES version, something that's interesting is they have a password system where when you die, and this is one of the things I think the game does well, is the password system. If you want to take the game in short bursts, you can use the passwords to pick up. You don't have to like grind your way all the way back up to level 6, 7, 8, 19, 24, whatever. You can just pick exactly where you left off, put the password in, and boom, you're right back in there, and you're taking on a new challenge.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I have that the game does well is the password system. It's really nice because this game is not easy.
No.
But I can imagine, like, as a kid, if I would have had this game, it would have been fun to write my password down and come back and, you know, play this game, like, after school or whatever, to keep trying to make progress. And the password system, you get a password every level. It's not like one of those games where it's like, okay, you beat 4 levels and now we give you a password. It's like, congratulations, you made progress. Here's another password. And the nice thing about the password system, another thing that I have written down, is that the game has stats, and the password system will keep track of your stats for you. After you beat a level, it gives you a little password, and then you can basically pick up exactly where you left off. So the stats are nice.
Now, by stats, yeah, he doesn't mean like it keeps your statistics of how many kills or whatever you got. You actually get stat points.
Yes,
you get stat points that you can then use to level up different categories. You have offense, defense, special weapon, how long your special weapon lasts for, and something else that I can't remember.
Well, I think there's like a special...
But you use those stat points.
Yeah, you have like a health, like an energy meter. You have like a special weapon, and then like a special weapon timer. And so I think as you put stat points into special weapons, new weapons unlock for you. But I could be wrong about that. But I think I read that on the internet somewhere.
Yes, that sounds right. That's probably why we didn't see some of those better weapons until later in the game.
Yep. But yeah, the stats are nice too because you can find stat points throughout like levels and stuff like that. So it's not like hey, congratulations, you beat the level, here's a stat point. It's like there's a bunch of hidden stuff, and some of them are stat points, it's an interesting choice, I'll say.
Yeah, I put down that the power-up system in this game is very unique in what the game does well. It does have that stat point system that we talked about. That's not in the arcade version, so that's something totally unique to the NES version. Mm-hmm. You also have, just like in normal shoot-'em-ups, if you've ever played them, usually you kill a bad guy, and then here, it's like in Contra. You can pick up the flamethrower, or you can pick up the machine gun, or you can pick up, the bombs or whatever. Yeah. But in this game, there's one power up, and then you shoot it to make it change into the different things. So it always starts out as energy, which energy counts as like your life in this game. And then when you shoot it, it turns into like a spread shot. You shoot it again, and it turns into this like kind of like a shotgun thing that also stops enemy bullets. There's a really fast rapid fire gun, and then the last one I think is like a big kind of like grenade bomb thing that does a lot of damage. And so there's all these different power-ups, and I've never seen another game like that where you can like shoot the power up and turn it into other power ups. And at first it's kind of a little bit tricky to get the hang of, but by the end of playing today, after a couple hours, like we got the hang of it, and it was nice to be like, okay, I'm gonna shoot through until I get the power up that I want, because the power ups also stack. So like the first time you get a spread shot, it's pretty good, and then the next time you get it, it's better, and then it goes a third time, and now it's like ultra, and so it is a unique power up system.
Yeah, and we should say too a couple things on that. One is that your health, your quote unquote energy, is constantly draining in this game. And so the power-ups actually alternate between weapon upgrades and like health. And so based on, it's like you'll shoot a line of like 5 whatever or so red planes, and then if you shoot them all, you get a power-up. And then if you shoot the power-up, it turns into a weapon upgrade. And then if you shoot that weapon upgrade a few more times, it turns back into health. And then if you shoot it a few more times, it turns into a different weapon. And it alternates back and forth between health and weapons, which is a really interesting system that I don't know. I mean, Mario has like these blocks that will, like Super Mario World has like a few of these blocks that where the item changes as it comes out of the block. From you know, a mushroom to a feather to a star to a fire flower and so on. But I can't remember ever playing a game where it kind of gave you the choice in this particular way, and I think it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I really like that. There's also you can like hold your shot. So in the arcade games, if you hold down the fire button, you get this rapid fire. But in this one, if you hold down the fire, it like charges up your laser, and you can shoot like a big heavy laser that does more damage. So yeah, just lots of interesting stuff going on with the attacks and weapons and all that kind of stuff. Another thing that makes this game stand out from other vertical shooters, like you think about in like Galaga, which is one of my favorite vertical shooters, one-hit kills. We played Salamander way earlier on the podcast, and that was one-hit kills.
Life Force.
Games like Gradius, one-hit kills. Life Force, sorry. Salamander, Life Force, depends on what
Depends on where in the world you're from, yeah.
I'm in the Pacific state of mind, man. We just spent 2 hours in the Pacific. So in all those games, you have one hit and you're dead. And so in this game, the fact that you have that energy bar, it's interesting because you start off with a bunch of health, but then as you go, you get down and then it stops, and then it becomes a one-hit kill game. So there's kind of like these layers to this game that other shoot-'em-up games don't have, and I kind of like that.
Unless you find a cow. Because if you find a cow...
Oh, good point. You can fly over a cow, and then you get like 35 energy back. You can pick up an elephant for like 16 energy, I think. There's a little star thing that will fill you all the way up. There's just all these random power-ups that you can pick up. And the first time we saw a cow, we're like, why is there a cow in the ocean?
Yeah.
And then the next time we did that level again, because we had to play it multiple times, we picked that cow up and we were like, we just got 35 energy.
Yeah, yeah.
It was pretty exciting.
The cow was hidden next to the battleship. The hidden...
Y'all know about, like, in Castlevania, there's wall chicken. Well, apparently 1943 has ocean cow.
Water cows, yeah.
Water cows, yeah, which is just a manatee, I think, right?
Sea
cows?
I saw a Donkey Kong hammer. You're like, it's a dragonfly. I'm like, no, it's a Donkey Kong hammer.
Dragonfly. No, definitely not a Donkey Kong hammer. I'm sure that Capcom was not giving a shout out to their big competitor, Donkey Kong.
Oh man, Jordan, you brushed over the laser, which is actually something that I have that the game does well. Like as we got further into this game,
you have the laser by itself.
Yeah,
is something the game does
because
well?
it was a moment for us where we were like, "What is this?" If you hold the shoot button, then it charges up a laser, and that the laser like tears up like big enemies and like goes through small enemies and stuff, and it made the game play a lot more. Strategic, I guess. Yeah. And so I was like, that's a really cool feature. I'm glad that this is here. It makes me feel like it just, this game, I mean, I don't know if we could put like the manual or the lack of explanation in what the game doesn't do well, like maybe. But the game doesn't like explain itself. So when you discover new stuff, it's like, oh, that's a really cool feature. So on the one hand,
Yeah.
I guess this is kind of a split point. Because on the one hand, like there's a bunch of really cool stuff, like a cow that like fills your health. But then on the other hand, there's like, what does that thing do? What does the barrel do? Like what?
Well, the cow is actually in the manual. It says it's a bonus character, and then there's no explanation at all about what it does. So this game is kind of like an onion. It's kind of like a parfait. It's sort of like an ogre, and it's nothing like a donkey.
Okay.
And that it has layers. It has layers, people.
Yeah.
And you uncover them the more you play.
Yeah, and the more that you see what's there, the better the game, I think, gets, is kind of what I'm trying to say.
Yes. Dan, do you have anything else that this game does well?
I'm trying to think. I don't have anything written down. The water physics,
I think
were probably
Stop.
They probably rival those of Wave Race 64.
No.
The-
I was disappointed actually in the water physics because the arcade games got these seriously cool tidal waves that come and wreck destroyers and battleships, and the NES version just totally skips that. Or if it exists in there, we did not see it or could not figure out how to activate that tidal wave.
Well, there's a visual glitch sometimes when you're like taking off for a level, where there's like a little rectangle of water that kind of moves.
Yeah. You're calling that a water physics. Cool.
No, I think I'm done. I think I'm done.
I think I'm also.
All right, let's move on to what the game doesn't do so well. The first thing that I have that the game doesn't do so well is that it basically requires you to find the secrets and hidden power-ups to pass levels, which is just a really strange choice to me.
You mean like the stuff, like the layers, the extra stuff that you figure out along the way, it's not like optional fun extra stuff, it's like required to beat the game?
So like the only pickups, power-ups that are obvious are like, oh, normally I'm shooting green planes. Now I'm shooting red planes. And then the red planes will drop a pickup. But like, since your health is constantly draining on its own and when you take damage, you need a lot of health to get through these levels. And so the levels have these things like hidden, like literally they're invisible, and you just have to shoot the air, and you'll learn where they are like the more you go through the levels. But like your stat points are like hidden on a boat, or like the cow is like next to a ship, or like you'll find random like extra pickups just hidden that you have to shoot several times to make them appear. And it's like a lot of the times that we failed at this game, like it was just we couldn't pass a level until we found all these secrets in it. Now maybe there's a better way. I mean, we're not like experts on 1943, but I thought it was a strange choice that it felt required for you to find secrets to beat these levels.
To be fair, though, it didn't take us long to figure out the pattern. So in every level, there's going to be a little ship way down on the bottom and on the left side of the screen, almost always, and that's where the stat point's going to be hidden. And then the extra life things are often going to be hidden in the clouds, and there's usually going to be like a cow or something hidden on a ship. So like you kind of figure out the pattern. But yeah, it is kind of something you have to play until you figure out those patterns.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not necessarily a problem, but it's like, in order to beat a level without like getting the pickups, because like by the time you get to the bosses in each level, because the levels are probably, how long would you say, like 3 to 5 minutes long?
Yeah.
And then each normal health pickup, you know, like that says like POW, it gives you a small amount of health, like 8 to 10 health, depending, I think, on how late you are into the game, which is not a lot. I mean, when we were playing on like level, 15 or something, I think our max health was like 80 or like 80, was it like 89 or something?
Yeah. I'm guessing if you level up your defense all the way, you probably can get up to 100 maybe.
Yeah, but the stat points aren't like that plentiful. And if you miss a stat point and you happen to beat a level, well, then you've just missed that stat point altogether. So, and now that I'm thinking about it, there's 24 levels, right? So I think that there is four. Are there four?
Six.
There's six categories and six.
No, sorry. There's 6 stat points on each one. I think there's 5 categories.
Okay, so in theory, you couldn't, if there was one, but then if you got the Donkey Kong hammers, some of those are worth 2 stat points.
Oh, yeah. Some of them are worth 2 stat points.
I don't know if you
could
can max your plane out.
All.
I don't know. I think you probably can, but if you make progress beyond a stat point, you're kind of up a creek, and that's kind of weird.
Yeah, I think for me, that's less egregious than the fact that the game is so incredibly repetitive. Like Dan mentioned, there's 24 stages. 24 stages, which is interesting because the arcade version only has 16 stages. So that's another reason why this game is so much longer. And it's not like, 24 stages, they're doing lots of different stuff. It's cool that they added all these extra stages. It's like, no, we're just playing the exact same thing over and over and over. Not even like a palette swap most of the time. It's just like, okay, here we're doing this one again, and it says it's a different level, but it's just the same thing we've already done. Shooting more green planes and more boats.
I was wondering if you had access to the Notes app over here, Jordan, because the second...
Oh, yeah.
The second point that I have in what the game doesn't do well is it seems like it's just repeating itself, and it ends up overstaying its welcome if you play it for like the whole time.
Yeah, that's why we say you got to play this in short chunks. Don't try to blast through this thing. Look at it it's 24 different challenges for you to tackle over a long period of time. Don't attempt to play them all at once.
Yeah, this was one of those games where we were making full use of the Retron, like breaking it, because by the time we were done with it, it was just like, okay. Is this game changing at all? It's like, well, the patterns of the enemies are getting more annoying. I'm fighting more big enemies. We ended up skipping a few levels with the wonderful level passwords. And then those passwords, they didn't have any points in like offense. And so it was like harder to kill like bigger enemies later on. And like, it seems like how you allocate your stat points is really important in this game as well. But by the time we were done with it, we were like done with it. I imagine the arcade version is probably a little bit more the right length, but I feel like the NES version, like, I'm glad there's 24 levels, but I'm not glad to play 24 levels in one sitting. Yeah.
I think for me, the last thing that I have for what this game doesn't do well is that it is significantly worse than the arcade game in 2 big aspects. And these, like, often you're like, oh yeah, of course it's worse than the arcade version because it's an NES game. But these are things that they didn't need to make worse. The first is that there's no auto fire. In the arcade game, you can just hold down the fire button and it just goes rapid fire. In this one, you have to mash the button as fast as you can to try to just like, because you have to shoot fast, and so you're constantly like giving yourself carpal tunnel trying to fire the weapon. And then the second thing is that the continues in this game are so much worse. In the arcade game, like I said, you just put in another quarter, or if you're playing on the Switch or one of the modern consoles, you just hit the button to continue, and you pick up right where you left off. So it's not like, oh my goodness, I'm starting over again. You just pick up back where you left off, and so those 2 things very easily were not like things that they couldn't program around on the NES. Those are just them being lazy or weird. Like, why? Like, do you need the charge beam if you have the auto fire? Probably not.
The rapid fire thing, I mean, I get it. There is a like some of the weapon upgrades let you do rapid fire, so I could see why maybe not putting normal rapid fire in the game could be a thing.
Yeah, but it was in the original game, and they decided to take it out for the port.
Well,
Now, to be fair, we did like the charge laser and how it works against bosses, but I feel like I wish they would have given us a way to like toggle between the 2, or like, I don't know, use the select button, something. Let us have auto fire and the laser beam. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird.
Maybe.
If anybody is interested or wondering, that Capcom collection on modern consoles and on Steam is called Capcom Arcade Stadium. And 1943 is free, so anybody can play it for free on there.
One of the interesting things about that collection is like you can change the look of your arcade and stuff. It lets you like go down to a granular level of like what you want the cabinets to look like and stuff. It's really interesting. Yeah. I mean, I don't think Ghosts and Goblins was free on the Xbox One version when I downloaded it. So
it might have just been when it launched, because I got it like the day it came out. So maybe they were doing that as like a bonus. Probably. But I think anybody can get 1943.
Yeah, that's how I got it.
I think that's always free.
It's also on a Capcom Classics collection, Volume 1, I think, on PS2. So that's how I was going to play it if I didn't get it on the modern Capcom collection, which I think also includes the Kai version. So if you want to check that out, I don't think it's an expensive collection.
There's another Capcom collection on the Switch that was on sale recently. They always go on sale, and it was like 11 Capcom games for $6 or something.
Oh, was it the Beat 'Em Up bundle?
No, not the Capcom Beat 'Em Up bundle. They have like a whole bunch of bundles.
Can we start just calling the genre Beat 'Em Up?
Beat them up. You got beat them ups. You got shoot
them ups.
Shoot the mups. It's for people who are really against Kermit the Frog, Miss Piggy. We're gonna shoot the mups.
Jordan, I don't think I have anything else that the game doesn't do so well. It just, besides the fact that the manual doesn't explain things. You know, maybe
the manual's terrible.
Maybe GameFAQs can help you out or something, but I didn't. I wish I knew what was going on, because sometimes you pick up these barrels and they're like, are these just points? And then like later on,
those were energy.
When we were breaking
barrel
the game,
was worth 16 energy or 35 energy or something.
I don't think it was though, because sometimes it didn't refill the energy. So I think there's like 2 different ones. And then like later on, when we were shooting the pickups, it was like. It stopped cycling, and then it's like, does that refill your energy or something? We didn't know because we had
full tank.
Because we were struggling so much to get through this one that we had to turn on the invincibility, and it made the game a lot less fun. Like you
don't want to play a bullet hell game when you're invincible. You have to be vincible, or else these games aren't fun.
Yeah, and that's what something we used to talk about a long time ago. More often is just like you can't have invincibility cheats. You could cheat in video games, but like just invincibility, just no. That's not unless you literally can't get through something to see the next part of a game. Temporary invincibility, sure, but
infinite lives are okay. Power-ups are okay, but invincibility, there's no fun to that. Unless you're like doing it for little kids. It's like how Mario Kart added the auto steer and you can't fall off the level. Like if you want to like play a game with a little kid, sure, turn on invincibility for them because it's going to be more fun for you as an adult to not have to deal with that. But if you're an adult, don't be invincible. You don't need that.
So are we doing the thing again where we're like, let's just play it on a Retron 5? Like we used to do that a lot too.
No, I would say play the arcade version. Play the arcade version because you have infinite continues and you don't lose your spot in the game.
But all right. Well, you don't lose your spot in the NES version.
Yeah, you have to start the whole level over again.
That's half the fun.
Nah.
Could you? Well, the NES version wouldn't be fun if it just let you continue all the time. I could understand lives. Like I think lives might have been a little bit better of a choice. Maybe balance the health draining with like some extra lives or something. But I don't know. It's still fun. I like the challenge.
Oh yeah, it's fun.
I like the challenge of like. There's a part of me that wants to beat this game legit.
Me too.
Just all the way through. At some point, but I feel like
not all the way. I mean, like in chunks.
Yeah, I would feel good about myself if I had the beating 1943 legit under my belt. That'd be happy. Make me happy. So
yeah.
All right, my friend, are you ready to move on to the rest of our show?
I'm ready. I feel like we kind of already did.
All right. So, what do you think that you would pay for the experience that you had with the NES version of 1943?
This is hard. This is hard, Dan, because I like the arcade version better, and it's free.
Okay.
So it's hard to pay for a worse version when I could get the best version for free. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
are you picking up what I'm putting down?
I am
Dan?
picking up what you're putting down, and I was like actually going to clarify. We talked about this a little bit like a few weeks ago about this worth it or worthless segment, and about shifting our roles in it to you being the guy who's like the digital modern downloaded on the eShop worth it or worthless
like a
guy,
modern human being,
and me being the should you add it to your retro physical game collection worth it or worthless guy. Almost like branching out in sort of how we trying to legitimize you saying $2 for everything.
That's fine.
Instead
I would
of
much
trying
rather have Bill. Yeah, instead of me trying to put myself into your brain, just let me answer for myself.
As much as I would love you to be in my brain, I just don't. I don't see it ever happening.
Would you? Would you love that? I don't know if you would love that.
Probably not. Probably nobody needs to be in my brain. But so okay, all right. So let's go back to the let's go back.
No, that's fine. Let's do what you just said. Let's
go back to 1943. If you're walking up to a Play Choice 10.
Oh my goodness. I thought we were going to say, I'm answering for digital modern world, and you take the insane I'm buying the NES copy in 2021. Or what is it? 2022. In 2022, I'm buying old cartridges for some reason.
Okay, well let's talk about this though a little bit more. Arcade version, you go to an arcade.
I have it on my Switch. I don't have to pay any money for it.
I'm gonna paint you this picture in a couple ways. You go to an arcade. How many quarters are you dropping in? If you have to drop quarters in, if you don't have to drop quarters in, then or let's say you go to a Pizza Hut. And this is the only machine that you find in the dark entrance of a Pizza Hut, which I believe I've seen 1943 at a Pizza Hut in my childhood. I have
I believe it. Oh yeah,
I might have played it. I don't know.
Sure.
How many quarters are you dropping at the Pizza Hut? And if you find this on free play with a wristband at an arcade, how long are you playing 1943 in the arcade?
Okay, if I'm at a Pizza Hut, I probably only have $1. I probably only have $1 because let's get real.
Stop.
If I'm lucky, I have $1. Are you talking about me like today, or if you're talking about me like when I was a kid?
Right now.
Oh, okay. Still, same goes.
You go to the Pizza Hut that hasn't been updated since 1987, and they have a 1943 machine.
Yeah, this is what's happening. I have $1. I'm putting 50 cents in 1943, and I'm saving the other 50 cents for the jukebox.
Ain't that the truth?
Because Pizza Hut has a jukebox.
They do have a jukebox.
I'm probably seriously, if it's the only game there, I'd probably play 2-3 rounds. But if I'm going to Pizza Hut, it's for the buffet, so I'm not wasting too much time playing video games.
What are you going to do while you're waiting?
If I'm at an arcade and it's free play, I'm probably putting less than 10 minutes into this.
Wow.
Because it's an arcade. There's so much to grab my attention at a free play arcade. I'm not playing anything for more than 10 minutes. You're
telling me if you go to a Pizza Hut and you're waiting for your personal pan pizza, you're not playing 1943?
No, I'm going for the... What a waste of money, bro. If I'm going to Pizza Hut, I'm getting the buffet.
What if it's after lunchtime and they don't have the buffet?
Then I'm not going to Pizza
Hut. Oh, man.
This isn't a difficult equation.
I'm trying to make it difficult.
You answer and give me the answer that you want.
Right.
You want me to say.
All right. Well, what do you
mean? You want for you.
So you would... Okay, all right. So just to get some closure on your answer... What are you paying for the experience you had with the NES version of 1943?
Nothing, because I can play the better version for free.
Okay. All right.
Listen,
just to be clear,
if you're interested, if you're interested in this game, go play the free version that's better. I don't understand how I can say this any other way. It's like,
Jordan,
I could pay money for a worse version, or Dan, I could play the good version for free.
they're not the same, though. They're not the same.
Yeah,
They're a
the
little
one
different.
is better, and I'm picking the one that's better for free.
Whatever, man. Whatever. I don't know. I feel like I'm coming in hot on this one. Maybe I need to slow my roll a little bit, but my gut is saying $12.
Just imagine a world where you go and pick an inferior product for more money because you have a compulsion to put pieces of plastic on your shelf at home. That's all. I don't, judge for yourself. Judge for yourself.
Whatever, man.
Come on, people.
Whatever.
Come on, people.
No, this is a fun NES game. Plus, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about the arcade version. Just play the NES version.
You want to know what's cool?
No.
If you're like a Switch handheld person, they have an option in the game to switch it to Tate mode, which is like length, like the long ways.
Yeah.
So you can turn your Switch and play in Tate mode, and it's like an actual vertical shoot 'em up experience using up the whole screen.
Yeah. So,
Sweet.
what's the company? Do you know off the top of your head the company that actually makes the? There's like a what am I?
Oh, you
trying
can
to
buy a grip,
think?
like a
Yes,
Joy-Con grip that holds them
thank you.
vertically.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch online, and you can
Yeah.
3D print them now.
So you could actually like play it vertically properly. Like there's a bunch of since there's a bunch of arcade ports on the Switch, there's things that let you hold it properly while turning your screen that way, which is a cool option. I mean, I don't know why.
Yeah, and a bunch of pinball games can do that now. It looks like it's called the Flip Grip, and it's $12.
Yeah,
if you're super into doing that.
It's affordable, which is also nice. So
Yeah.
I'm saying $12 on the NES version. I mean, arcade version, yeah, play it, especially since you could get the collection.
$12, or you could spend $12 and buy the Flip Grip and just play it on your Switch.
Jordan, not everybody has a Switch.
You're right. There's only 6 billion sold, so there are about 1 billion people in the world who don't have one yet, but we're working on it.
Are you backing
Dan.
down?
No, I said 6 billion sold. I've stuck to that.
You used to say
Or maybe I said 7 billion?
billion sold.
Oh, sorry. 7 billion sold. How many people in the world? How many people are there in the world?
7 billion sold.
We're
1
at-
billion Switches destroyed somehow in
There
a
are
dumpster.
7.7 billion people in the world. So we got to get that 0.7 billion to get a Switch, but we're getting there.
Yeah, right. What else are we doing, Jordan?
In the words of Phil Collins from the Disney movie Brother Bear, tell everybody I'm on my way.
What?
You never heard Tell Everybody I'm on My Way? It's one of the top 10 Disney songs right there.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you think that this one's going for? The NES version.
NES version, probably going for $14.
That's a really good guess, Jordan. It's going for $15 currently.
I figured it was just a little bit more than what you said because you were trying to justify the price.
Whatever, man. Whatever. What do you think the Famicom
I'm
version's
not
going
wrong. Famicom version's probably going for $6.
$6. 24.
Oh,
24.
that's weird. Usually those are cheaper.
Yeah.
Is it Famicom or Famicom Disc?
I think it's just Famicom, according to
Okay.
PriceCharting. Jordan, the PC Engine version of 1943 Kai, Japanese PC Engine version. What do you think that's going for? This is the last one I've got.
I saw people online saying that is the best version of 1943 that you can get anywhere is the PC Engine Kai. So I'm going to say people probably spend $46 on that.
Why don't you take another guess? Because it's not even close.
$86.
Getting warmer.
Oh my gosh, just tell me.
$101
It's gonna hurt me if it goes-
for the PC
Okay, I was going to say it'll
Engine.
hurt me if it goes over $100 and it just...
Then it's worthless?
It just hurt me. No, I mean, it was worthless once it got to $1 because you could literally play it for free.
You were like, it's worthless once it's on a PC Engine, because who has that?
Not many people, but there's some hardcore PC Engine fans out there.
I'm not gonna lie. My wish list, not on the eShop, my real life wish list currently contains a TurboGrafx 16 Mini. It's something that I want, but the price has spiked on that thing since you pretty much can't.
Is that
get
the
it.
same as a PC Engine?
Yeah, that's the non-Japanese version of the PC Engine.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Yep.
You learn something new every day.
Yep. I'm pretty sure that's true.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. That's ringing a bell.
I'm 96% sure that's true. But you know
Nice.
how it goes. All right, so $15. I know you're going to say worthless because you are a crazy person. I think
I'm not a crazy
No,
person.
you're a
Would
crazy
be the person who spends $15 on a game that's free.
No. It's not free. The NES version costs $15.
Okay. That's like saying, Dan, listen, you could have a Qdoba burrito for free, or you could pay for an inferior Chipotle burrito, and it's only $15. Which one are you going to choose?
Also free when they screw it up.
Sure. All right. Yeah. Dan's last experience with Chipotle did not go well. So
I think I can get to 15. I think I can call it worth it at 15. I think.
exactly. I knew you could.
I think I could get there.
I'm going to say for those of us living in 2022, it's absolutely worth it because you can get it for free. All you have to do is download it on your Switch or your other platform of your choice.
Whatever, man.
Capcom Museum or whatever it's called. Stadium. Capcom Stadium. Capcom Arcade Stadium.
It's the Capcom Game Carnival, I think is what it's called.
No, it's called Capcom Arcade Stadium. All right, there we go.
Worth it.
It's a worth it all around from both of us on very differing levels of parameters, but whatever.
I'm glad we finally made the segment work. Jordan, do we have trivia today?
We do. We have some trivia. And you might know the answer right off the bat, Dan, but I want you to hold your answer until I get through all four options so the listener can play along.
The listener
okay?
What year did 1943 actually take place in?
You've mentioned some of these, so I think you're going to get it. But I want to see if everyone else was paying attention. So, Dan and listener, which one of these statements about 1943, the Battle of Midway, is false? I'm going to read four statements. Okay. One of them is false, and I think that we've actually mentioned three of them on here. So, which one is true? Which ones are true, and which one is false? Here we go. A. 1943 was the highest grossing table arcade game in 1987 in Japan.
Okay.
B. The Battle of Midway actually took place in 1942, not 1943. C. There is a secret Morse code hidden in the game. And D. The game is a sequel to another Capcom game called 1942. Which one of those four statements is false? Was it 1943 is the highest grossing table arcade game in 1987 in Japan? The Battle of Midway actually took place in 1942, not 1943. There's a secret Morse code hidden in the game, or the game is actually a sequel to another Capcom game called 1942.
Now, initially, my gut was saying, for the first one, I thought it was 1942, but now that I'm thinking about it, I think it actually was 1943. 1943 was really popular when it came out. And so I think that actually is true, because I thought you were playing around.
That it was the highest grossing table arcade game in 1987.
I believe so. I think that is actually true. Now that I'm like, wait a minute. There's... I was interested as I was poking around online. There's like a 1940 like fandom like wiki page, and I was like,
yeah,
there's like, because I said to you earlier, like I thought this franchise was like kind of underrated, and you're like, what are you talking about? Like people like this. I'm like, what? Nobody's talking about it. And then it's like, well, it was super high grossing, and I'm like, there's this fandom. I'm like, whoa, maybe. Maybe I just didn't realize that people liked it.
People love World War II.
Well, it's a great game. I don't think that it's necessarily the fact that it has to do with World War II. I mean, it could have been like...
I know, but that's just like an extra bonus.
it could have been like 19. It could have been like 2042 and taken place in space. Like so many.
They have that. It's called 19XX.
Do they really?
It's called 19XX. Yeah.
Oh, of course it exists. 19XX.
Yeah. The War Against Destiny, 19XX.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure it has some space stuff in it.
Capcom made
Maybe
that?
not. Maybe it's just...
Or was that like a fan-made thing? Because I know there's like 1945 Strikers 1945 or something, which I think is an homage. But I think that's actually a horizontal shooter. Which is
19XX, The War Against Destiny. It was a Capcom game that came out in 1995 it was an arcade game.
There you go.
Got a PlayStation release.
Anyways, Morse code, Jordan. There's not Morse code hidden in this game.
You're saying that the false thing is that there's a secret Morse code hidden in the game.
That is what I'm saying.
Dan, you are wrong, because at the beginning of every single level, there's Morse code. You hear it. It was when the levels are just like...
Now, Jordan, you said hidden Morse code. I don't call that hidden. So
okay, listen.
Dan is right.
Okay. It's a secret Morse code because it just sounds like beeps, but then if you translate it into Morse code, it says calling any station. This is Capcom, down and out.
That's not a secret.
That is what are you talking about? You just thought it was beeps.
What? So what? I don't
Dan,
know.
The actual thing that was false, you're going to love this. I already know that you're going to respond super well to this. The thing that is false is that in 1943, it was the highest grossing table arcade game in 1987 in Japan because, Dan, it was actually the second highest grossing table arcade game in 1987 in Japan.
Fair enough.
You always say when I give a super detailed one that has to be true because it was so detailed. So I thought I would use that against you.
I don't think I always say that, Jordan, but whatever.
You always say that.
At least we're not talking about Sonic toys.
Now there's a throwback. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. We've been places, man. What's next? We got Bounty. Bounty. Is that what we do next?
We got Bounty. We're gonna read our winner.
We got a winter Bounty.
Our winner from the
December.
What were we giving away?
We were giving away a $20 North American eShop code for the Nintendo Switch Entertainment Shop.
Yes, and we asked you to send in what is my favorite game, wrong answers only, and the winner this month, or last month rather, was Jay Schneider, and he said Jordan's favorite game was clearly Final Fantasy VII, a classic $1 Jordan pick. Final Fantasy VII was probably the most received answer that we got on this bounty.
Of course.
And it wasn't I didn't hate that game. People need to go re-listen to that episode. I didn't hate that game. I just didn't love that game as much as everybody else does. Some other answers that we got were Battletoads, which is a good pick because don't love that game. Night Trap, which I've never played. I don't know if I would like that game or not. Some people said wrestling games, lots of Final Fantasy VII, some Final Mega Gear Fetch Quest X PC Edition. Oh, that's a fake game. They were making that up. Those all sound terrible. Yeah, so thank you for everyone for sending in those suggestions. I will not be playing any of them. And congratulations to Jay Schneider on being this month's winner. We will reach out to you and get you your prize. Everybody else, don't worry. If you didn't win, we have an even better prize for you in January that Dan will tell you all about.
You saying it's better?
I think that it's always better to give people options.
No,
he says no.
Just kidding.
Okay, he says no. Never mind. It's not as good. It's a worse bounty. I'm sorry if you win it.
I'm just surprised because we're opening up to not only the North American eShop, Jordan, but the North American Xbox and PlayStation networks as well. And I'm just surprised that you're not mad that we're abandoning the Switch only. You're calling it better, which I would agree.
No, but I like my Xbox because I can play Halo on it for free. Another great free game. And
it's a free game.
You might want to use the bounty that you win to buy a couple battle passes on Halo, and I think that's totally acceptable. I don't know what you could possibly be buying on PlayStation, but I'm sure you could figure something out.
If you're an Xbox person, you could buy some Halo Infinite shin guards, which are probably like a shiny shade of blue.
You could buy an emblem, maybe.
Maybe you could buy a visor that you can put on
for one core. Helmet on one core.
For one helmet on one core, but not the other two cores that are in the game currently.
Yeah.
All right, Jordan. What do they got to do this month to be entered into this bounty?
That's a great question. Why don't you tell us? I don't remember.
I have it written down. I thought you were going to give us all the DM spiel.
I can do that. I just don't remember what they're sending us. I got to look at what people have sent us already.
They're giving us the arc.
I remember now.
Okay.
I'll look it up.
Go ahead.
Yeah. This month, let us know what is an arcade game that didn't get a port that should have, or just an arcade game that you like that doesn't have a port. Maybe you loved it in the arcade and it just never came to systems. You're going to let us know by sending us a direct message on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. You can find us at WIOW Podcast. You can also send us an email
at worthitoworthlesspodcast@gmail.com.
Or you can send Dan or myself a direct message on Discord. Don't forget, every month you can earn additional entries on Discord just by participating in our Discord server, chatting about games, about life, about whatever. Those bonus entries on Discord do not count unless you submit an actual official entry, so make sure you do that. Also, this month, since we're giving away on Switch, Xbox, or PlayStation, it would help if you let us know which one of those you would like to win if you do win, so we can get you your prize faster.
Yep. And
if you have any questions about any of that, there's rules. You can find all the rules in the website description, podcast description. Click around until you find it.
Talk about worthitoworthless.com, Jordan?
Oh, yeah, worthitoworthless.com/bounty.
I believe so, yeah. Link in the podcast description.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a thing I'm trying to do. We got lots of. It's going to be the home. I don't want to say of all things worth it or worthless, because there's a lot of worth it or worthless things. The thought of trying to get 80 some odd podcasts onto a website is just like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna do that. I want to.
No, and you don't need to.
I'm ambitious
They can find
enough.
us literally everywhere else on the internet.
But yeah, we're trying. We're doing the website thing. We just posted last week 22 NES games to check out in 2022, which is a bit of a riff on our Desert Island NES list that we did a couple years back. And
Dan is currently working on his doctoral dissertation on the iArcade.
Yeah, so in honor of January, I was trying to do some arcade themed stuff for the website. So I am currently polishing up my iArcade review, which is it's a home arcade machine that you can like add games to through their game store. So it's kind of interesting and cool.
Oh yeah, Dan, what game can you get on there?
Snow Brothers 2.
Yeah, so maybe stay away from that thing.
Stay away from it because I'm chasing the leaderboards.
If that's indicative of the kind of quality you can expect on an iArcade machine, then
Jordan, I'm telling you, I'm probably going to write a review of Snow Brothers 2. It's probably the next article I'm going to do after the iArcade review. The world needs it.
There's got to be somebody out there that'll appreciate it. Maybe one of the developers is still alive and they'll appreciate it.
Man. Well, that's the interesting thing. Like some of the stuff that I'm like, I want to write about that. It's like just the weirdest corners of retro gaming. That like I'm like nobody. Surely there's probably 3 people in the world that are going to care about this, but I care about it.
Yeah.
So I just want to write about it.
You and the 2 other guys who are competing for the leaderboards on Snow Brothers 2.
Jordan, I'm currently. I almost took 6th place on the iArcade leaderboards in Snow Brothers 2. I'm still 7th. I got up to 1.1 million points. So got to do a little better.
1.1 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, in the 3rd level, you get like a 900,000.
Oh my gosh! Stop! No
you get
one
like a 900,000 point bonus
again.
In the 3rd level, you get a 900,000 point bonus.
That's 3 strikes.
I'm telling you, Jordan, I'm dying on this hill.
Once last episode, that's fine, but it's got to die. No, the hill has to die.
Nope. Snow Brothers 2 is good. It just has some Nightmare Fuel sprites.
Is there anything else we need to talk about?
Is there anything else, Jordan? We're talking. We gotta go. We're rolling into No Theme Brewery next month.
No, it's not. No, it's February. You can't say No Theme Brewery because that sounds like November.
No Theme Brewery.
That's that's terrible. Try again in a couple weeks.
Well, I know you hate spooky games, so I was thinking about doing Horror Brewery, but
that doesn't even make sense.
I know it doesn't have to make sense. I'm working on it. But anyways, so Jordan, I'm talking about No Theme Brewery because I don't know what we're playing next month. But the next episode we're doing Link's Awakening. Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening.
Link's
DX.
Awakening. Nice.
So that should be exciting. I'm excited to play another Zelda game that's not a 3D Zelda game. So that'll be in 2 weeks. Other than that, we got Patreon now. Posted some stuff in there.
We do have Patreon.
Last month we did an AMA, which was fun and interesting. It was about 45 minutes long or so. 43 minutes or something. Had some fun questions. We got another podcast that we do for Patreon as well. Super Worth It or Worthless All Stars Deluxe, where we have some different retro gaming conversations. So also early access to this show, a discount on our merch store where we have like shirts and stuff and coasters. And I'm going to put the stickers up there soon if you want some stickers. But yeah, if you want.
Also get access to the podcast a few days early.
I think I said that, Jordan. But you know.
Oh,
whatever.
Well, I just wanted to reiterate that. It's past my bedtime. I'm sorry.
So you can check that out, patreon.com/worthitoworthless or worthitoworthless.com/Patreon. I think they will both.
Wow.
I think they will both take you to the same place.
That's great.
That for some reason I'm actually amused by that, but I don't know why.
Hey, it's fun. I'm gonna try it right now.
I don't think we got it.
It does work. I can confirm it does work. I just tried it.
All right, Jordan. Do we have anything else before we close out this train wreck with our music segment?
That's it. I hope you guys learned something. I hope that you got all of your World War II fix that you needed for the year, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yes. Jordan, for our music segment, you know, it's January Caduary. So
it is.
What better way to close out January Caduary than with some Final Fantasy music?
Okay, yeah. Pokemon last time, Final Fantasy, some of my favorite arcade games. Good stuff, man.
Well, Jordan, as you probably don't know, but you should, Chocobo and Chill by Rifti Beats just came out. I think last week. What do you mean stop? Final Fantasy is a great soundtrack.
I don't
You're
know.
insane.
I just like that the fact that that's a thing.
The music is fantastic. Right. So Chocobo and Chill came out. And so we're going to close out the show, Jordan, with Chocobo. It's just the song Chocobo.
All right.
Normally he's like, I'm excited to hear it, but like this time he's just like
you guys have been trolling me about Final Fantasy for a solid year now. So I just
are we going back?
Are
we going back to the future?
I hope not.
Are we going? Are we going back to the live stream?
We kind of reviewed the whole series in that one episode. Everyone's like, it's the best one, so we did it, and we don't have to ever do another Final Fantasy game.
Are we going back to the planet, Jordan? Are we going to become the planet?
Okay, here's Chocobo. Hope you hate it.
All right, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
See ya.
Bye.